Hey everybody, how are you? Gosh, I feel like I haven't been on in a couple weeks, and I don't think I have. I think one day the internet had this like weird, bizarre crash, and then I was traveling the next week. So I'm back, and I've got a ton of questions because I want to play catch up on some of these. I think some of them are super important. So I hope you're doing well. And so I always put them over on my phone so that I can watch this screen for questions. So I'm going to jump right in. Miss Flora Sage, I do not think I answered this question for you. Hi, Lisa. You mentioned that you listen to podcasts and books on tape and other audios when you were working out and driving. Who are your favorite go-to speakers or authors? Oh my gosh. Well, I was just in, where was I? I'm telling you, y'all. Pennsylvania with Harrisburg with the amazing Mr. Bob Berg, the multi-million bookseller of the Go Giver series. Highly recommend, highly recommend. You want to live a life and a business of influence, and you want to make it about purpose, then you read the Go-Givers. Flora, another favorite book of mine is, I'm telling you, y'all, this one goes down as my very best, but you have to listen to it on audio. And it is Hey Christina and Zia, hope I said that right, is Outwitting the Devil. Now, it's by Napoleon Hill, but it's edited by Sharon Lechter, who is the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and one of my very best friends in the world. And you have to listen to it on audio. She hired 2 actors, and one of them's the devil. And you'll have a hard time getting the devil out of your head after you listen to it. But talk about a book that talks about inner turmoil. Should I or shouldn't I? The devil or the angel or whatever. It's really good. It's not religious. It's just great. Andrea loves the Go-Giver. Andrea, I got to spend the entire day and had dinner with the famous Mr. Bob Berg, who I absolutely worship and adore. He's just a very, very dear friend of mine. Okay, so now what just happened? Why did I lose a bunch of my questions? Okay, September 3rd. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a couple, Flora. When you run out, send me a message. Bob Berg, the Go-Givers, and Miss Sharon Lechter. And for women, from Sharon Lechter, Think and Grow Rich for Women. Fantastic, fantastic book. But Outwitting the Devil, it'll change your life, I promise you. Robin, hey Lisa, would you please discuss your thoughts on rising above? Well, considering that is the title or the part of my book, which is Crushing Mediocrity, 10 Ways to Rise Above the Status Quo. Rising above means going higher than you are today, whether that is defining your purpose, whether that is your income level, whether that's just a mindset, you know? And another group that I run, it's push, right? Persist until something happens. Mondays are push days. Persist until something happens. That's what rising above is. It's rising above the noise. It's rising above the gossip. It's rising above what other people say. It's rising above the trash that people try to put in your head that isn't true. It's rising above so that you can go out and be all that you can be. That to me is rising above. All right, Nancy Lopez. Ooh, appreciate your feedback on the jewelry business. I prepared this summer my first collection. I hope y'all have seen this, which I showed to the public in an arts exhibition 2 weeks ago. The exhibition went well. I sold jewelry after our mentor's advice with a profit of €500 on 2 nights. This is something I didn't see coming. I'm extremely grateful. Plus 2 customized orders, extra profit. Yay. Besides, I got tons of feedback on how the story of my jewelry impacted the people that saw it. Priceless. Yay. The power of the story, the power of the personal brand, but it's all about a story. People don't buy. It isn't what you sell, it's what you stand for. If you stand for something big enough, people buy what you're selling. If you've got a compelling story, you have to give people a reason to buy today. And if you do, price is no longer an issue. Remember that. Kick out the price, kick up the story. I know how to prepare a lot of this, online marketing, good commerce, etc., but I'm also a bit scared because I come from a service sector and have no experience in dealing with my own inventory. Which would be the best approach for initial inventory? To buy all production material for the next 3 months at once, or buy it gradually month by month and see if I'm meeting my goals? I would, unless there's just a huge, Nancy, a huge price difference, I'm talking like 50%, I would buy it as you go and see how it goes. Because I think the thing about business, you have to be nimble. And it makes me think about this big marketing campaign that we're doing for a car dealer right now. And it's a digital campaign. It's a digital strategy. And the cool thing about it is that I'm partnered with a company that if it's not working, the strategy is not selling more cars a day into it, 7 days, 30 days, or whatever, that we're able to just turn it on a dime, turn the message, change the incentives, change the pricing, do whatever it takes to drive the eyeballs and the consumers back into the showrooms. And I think it's the same with you. I think when you start a new business, and by the way, your stuff is absolutely gorgeous. When you start a new business, I think you've got to test it and you've got to see what works, and you want to remain agile and you want to remain with cash in your pocket. So that would be my advice. We got Ian, you were just on another one of my Facebooks. How are you? Dog, how are you? I'm anxious. I loved your picture and your t-shirt, by the way. You're so cute. All right, this is from Lisa. Do you have or ever used a vision board? Oh, yes. If not, are other ways to keep your dreams in front of you every day? Yeah, no, I use a vision board for sure. I wish I've got it upstairs. I'll take a picture of it for you. And it's funny, I was just in a car dealer's office last week. She's a very dear friend of mine, Evelyn Chantal, and she's got 4 car dealerships. She's got a great, amazing story. She was on the last Freedom Flight from Cuba, literally the last plane out of Cuba back in the 60s, and as a child. And as a Cuban immigrant, her mom worked in a factory. Her dad was imprisoned in a Cuban refugee camp until he could finally get to the U.S. The story is so sad, but it's so amazing at the same time. Anyways, I walk into her office the other day, and I'm like, you have a vision board? You own 4 car dealerships. And she said, I've had a vision board my whole life. She said, how would I ever, the child, a first generation immigrant to this country, somebody who worked in factories, who didn't go to college, how would I ever be who I am and done what I did today if I didn't have vision? So I hope that encourages you. Evelyn is, I'm so proud of her. All right, Flora. Hi, Lisa. When creating your keynote speech or your main talk or your main go-to talk, how do you decide what to talk about? Interesting. Okay. I want to create my main talk, but don't know where to start. Did you hire a speaking coach? Yes. To answer your question, I did hire a speaking coach in the beginning, but that was really to teach me how to write the guts of a keynote. But you need to talk about what you're doing. You need to talk about, like, for example, I don't speak on the automotive industry unless I'm speaking to an automotive audience. But what I do speak on is the things that made me successful in the automotive industry, which has made me successful in other businesses also. So, for me, I got 2 big takeaways. It's either the art of the big sell, build a movement, build an empire, because I'm all about building a movement, both internally and externally, or it's the 5 non-negotiables of success. So it really depends on who your audience is. But at the end of the day, Flora, they've got to have takeaways. So I really like my one that's the 5 non-negotiables of success, because there's a lot of takeaways in it. I mean, they can write down those 5 things, and then they know what to go do with them. Of course, starting with purpose always. So I think you've got to decide, number 1, who is your audience? Okay, who are your people? Who are the people that are going to buy a ticket to hear you speak? And that's kind of an in-your-face question, but it was one that I had to realize a long time ago, because I thought, if I learn how to speak, everybody wants to hear me. Nope, it's not how it works. So who's your audience? And what is it that they're looking for you from? So I have 2 things my audience is, that I get hired for. I get hired for motivation, being a female in a male-dominated industry that broke glass ceilings. And I get hired for my business acumen when it comes to automotive. So there's that. And then I like to do motivational stuff also about purpose. Building a movement, building your purpose, and things like that. So I think those are the things that you have to decide, first of all, is who is it who's you need to almost develop an avatar. Who is it that's going to buy a ticket? Spend their hard-earned dollars to hear what you have to say. And I would put it out to your tribe and to some people, and I'm glad to have an off conversation with you off of this to find out where it is that you can monetize your expertise, because I know you have it, and I know you can monetize it. All right, Heather Harvey. I heard in one of your other live streams that you make time to do your social media. Yep. Does this include your blogs as well? Yep. I would love to add a blog or a monthly email for my customers. I found someone who can write these for me with the outlines I have given them. But do you think something like a blog or article would need to have my personal touches, as well as can I just start off by adding content without me having to write it? Okay. Oh, so much to tell you on that, Heather. So, you know, having these agents and these media companies are like, oh, we're going to hire you a ghostwriter and we're going to do this because you're too busy to do your social media and you're too busy to do your blogs. Okay, hashtag disaster. Literally, the people that know me and the people that follow me, within a week, this was, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago, within a week, they were pinging me like, this isn't you, this isn't your voice, this is nothing you would ever say. Because I trusted the process. I thought, oh, well, if they hired them to write it, then they'll, then of course they'll have my voice. And of course I interviewed them and stuff, and they were terrible. And it's not things I would say. So I'm on social media a lot. I run like 5 accounts, and I've tried to hire that out too. But at the end of the day, that is my platform. My blog that I write. So hear me on this, everybody. What is your platform? How do you communicate with your fans? How do you communicate with people that do business with you? You have a platform, and that is not the place to hire it out. So yes, I write my blogs. Ghostwriters have never worked for me. Yes, I do every social media post you'll ever see out of any of my accounts. I've done, and I've put thought into them. So I schedule time in my time blocking. Remember, I talk about time blocking. I schedule time to do them. It's part of my job. I'm thinking, I could pay somebody else 2 hours a day for it to be their job, but then I'm going to spend 2 hours a day trying to make them understand what I'm thinking about today, or what's on my mind today, or what I read about, or hanging out with Bob Berg or Sharon Lechter or any of my other fabulous friends around the country, actually around the world nowadays. So I think it's part of your job. If you want a public persona, if you want to build a personal brand, that's part of doing the job. Just my personal opinion. I think that there'll be people that will disagree with me on that. And maybe my voice is just so weird and so different or so opinionated that no one's ever been able to capture it, or maybe I've not done a good job of helping people capture it. But let's see down here. I've got more questions, but Edwin, disaster. God, I think Trump said that, right? Disaster. Oof. I feel like my hair looks like Trump's today too. It's not good. All right. So Heather, I hope I answered your question. Make time for it. It's your platform. Now I will say this. When I had my car dealership, I had writers write blogs for me about the cars, right? I mean, like, oh, we just got a new car in, so let's talk. If it's something like that, if it's mechanical, then fine, somebody else can write it. But if it's something about you, something you stand for, something you represent, something you personally are trying to sell, or you're trying to monetize your expertise, then no, you have to do it. I think that Sean's probably going to disagree with me on that one, so put it out to him too. Mandy, over the past 2 decades, either my husband or I have been the lead project manager in all website app projects for our company. Because we recently hired more engineers and are trying to switch to self-managing company and develop more rapidly, we recently hired the job of website and app management over to our most dependable and experienced engineer, a true player. Oh, a true A player. Makes a difference, a player or an A player. Okay, A player. I'm noticing that he's not very encouraging to our new engineers. Ugh. And I'm a little afraid that they will get frustrated and quit. Actually, because everything is online and I'm looped in, I can read all communication between him and the other engineers, and he's not encouraging at all. I know different people lead in different ways. What expectations would you have of your project managers and how they lead? And what would you, let's see, and what would you leave to their preference or personality, or what? And what would you leave to their preference or personality type? Okay, I mangled that totally up, but here's what it gets down to, Mandy. Not everybody's meant to lead, and I will tell you, I just talked about on my other podcasts that I do, engineers were the worst audience I've ever had in my life. I've never ever tanked an audience except for this audience, and it was tragic. It was tragic. They think differently. They are very linear. They are not personality people. They are very introverted people. And I think that, you as the owner, I think that you're going to have to do kind of PR, public relations, kind of the rah-rah. I've never in my life met a rah-rah leading engineer. So as long as he's teaching them solid practices and making sure that everything that they do is excellent and to your company's standards, that's probably a job well done. I hate to say it. And when it comes to the rah-rah and things like that and the encouragement, I think that's where you as the owner or your vice president of sales or somebody else, a general manager, a COO, somebody else is going to have to come in. But in the meantime, I would definitely have a talk with him and tell him that, you've noticed that his communication style is not very welcoming, and you understand, that he's got a certain skill set, but if he could kind of up his game a little bit, that you would try to jump in and help encourage people. People is tough, girl. It's tough. If you're in the people business, which we all are, it's tough. Okay, Manuela. Hi, Lisa. Could you please share your thoughts on trademarking one's business name? My thought is yes. It appears that many in my field, professional organizing, have been served with cease and desist letters. Oh, that's interesting. As a result, most are recommending trademarking as soon as one selects their business name. Wow, that's interesting. I've only gotten 2 cease and desists in my life. One of them was from Gucci. True story. Fiat came out with a Gucci Fiat, and so I went and bought I Love Gucci. Or no, I went and bought GucciFiat.com. That's what it was. Yeah, I got a big fat letter out of Italy on that one. Anyways, yes, and yes. Trademark, trademark, trademark. But that's interesting in your field, those cease and desists. But hey, it is what it is. So yes, you always want to protect yourself. Ari, it's that time of year for me where I'm seeing the clients I want nothing to do with. Ari, I'm one of them. Do you know what I'm tasked with this week? Finishing up our taxes for the October 15th deadline. I'm that customer, just for the record. All right, the procrastinators. I haven't even read the next word when I said that to you, because we're friends. Yes, I figured I could be funny, and then I read this. The procrastinators that have seriously failed to plan. What are your thoughts on only taking clients that pay for year-round consulting tax planning in addition to their tax return, and then completely cutting off clients that just come in for a tax return? Absolutely. Because the one thing I will say about our CPA is that he's been with us 18 years. He does the audits on our mortgage company. He does all of our corporate taxes, our personal taxes. He's everything to us. So yeah, we pay him lots of money, and then I do this to him every year. I don't work with individuals unless they're a business owner or high net worth with majority of income outside busy season is consulting/tax planning. So I think, Ari, before I would fire somebody, right, I think I would sit down and have a conversation with them and say, look, there's 2 things. Number one, you're killing me. You're absolutely killing me, because you're coming in like my friend Lisa Copeland at 2 weeks before or 2.5 weeks before a deadline, and then you're expecting me to recreate it. And number 2, I'm not involved all year round to know what's going on. So now it takes us a lot more prep work to catch up and to get caught up. And so therefore it's really taking us a lot longer. So you have 1 or 2 choices, buddy. It's April 15th, or we set you up on a program, on a monthly program where we work with you on tax planning so that you become more consistent. And then hold your ground, girl. Just hold your ground. Brandon, hey Lisa, have you ever had to raise money for any of your companies? If so, please share some of the ways you found success. Also some things you wish you would have known before the process. Yeah. I've never raised money in a Series A or anything like that, but I've invested as an angel investor, and I wish I wouldn't have done it. So there's that. And then number 2, yes, when I was a car dealer, I had to have a partner, because you have to have a net worth of about 16, 18 million. So I had a business partner who was a dear friend of many years, also a fellow car dealer. And what I learned is that when you have a business partner and you are the minority partner, you're nothing more than an employee with a bonus. So I'm all about bootstrapping if you can, if that's an option. But I'm probably not the best on talking about raising money. So, but those are my 2 personal experiences. Ish. It just makes me save my money and bootstrap, I can tell you that. Hello, Patricia darling. What CRM do you use, and what top 3 things would you like to change, and what top 3 things you like and 1 thing you would change? Oof. I use Zoho, which, I don't need that big of a CRM. Like I need it for my mail accounts, like for all my email. So I use Entreport for that, which I'm just now switching over to, by the way. So I can't tell you what I want to change, but I can tell you I've had to hire somebody to run my mailing lists. And so all those, all the emails I send out and stuff. So, but Entreport's not a CRM, it's just a mail service. And so Zoho, Z-O-H-O, I guess it's okay. Pretty much once somebody has said hello to me, fogged a mirror in my presence, they go to my email list. So, which is Entreport. So I hope that helps, girl. And then Miss Jennifer, what is the best email platform for online conversion? I've heard about ConvertKit, but is there something better? Good question. I don't know. I've been using MailChimp and I've got really good conversion with that. But I'm switching to Entreport because my lists have gotten so big and so heavy. And I've gone to, weird hairs, and I've gone to hiring somebody to run it for me. So I'm going to check out ConvertKit. I don't know, inside of me, Jennifer, it just says like, if your offer is compelling enough, they're going to drop their email. Or if they want to hear from you, they're going to drop their email. And if it's not, you're never going to convert. I don't care who you use. People don't want to hear from you. They don't want to hear from you. So I would say you want to make sure that your offer is really compelling. And then I don't think it matters who you use. And then of course, I think once your lists get big like mine have, then you switch over to a big system like an Entreport or something. All right, let me see if I've got so many comments here. Great advice. Thanks, Justin. This is what happens when you're catching up for 2 weeks and then you've got the third week. I'm just like, oh my God. You guys are so great though. I've been, hi Nigel, you're driving and listening. Okay, be careful. Don't let me say something dumb and you hit a deer or something. Anyways, I love reading all your stuff. I love being part of this tribe. I'm super grateful to Sean for letting me in and allowing me to participate, because I love great people and I'm rooting for you for sure. But you got to keep doing what you're doing. Lean on the mentors. You're paying to be here. Get your money out of us, right? And ask good questions. Help each other. And I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, and load me up with some more questions. And feel free to send me a private message if I didn't give you enough of an answer. All right, guys. Bye-bye.